I want to introduce you guys to my guy, Mando. Mando's out there crushing it. This is the Legacy Builder Club 2024 podcast. So the first person I have on here in 2024 is my guy, Mando. So enough of me talking about him. I want you to introduce yourself, Mando, and let the world know what you do pretty much.
Appreciate the love, Dana. I didn't know it was like that you got me as your breaking, your inaugural guest. You know what I'm saying? We're toasting it up. I appreciate that. That's much love. I appreciate the respect. My name is Mando Hernandez. I'm out of New York City. Uh, I've been investing in the real estate space for pushing on 25 years. It's been a while. I got my entrance or into the business through my mom. My
Okay.
mom, she's passed now, but she was Costa Rican, and she had that immigrant mindset, right? Just going after it, right? There's no other way but go, right? So then she started dabbling in the real estate here in New York, but she wasn't in tune with my dad per se. They didn't have the same mindset, right? She was more of a go-getter. He was more of a 9 to 5er, right? So that's kind of was his lane. So he always had kind of limited beliefs. I was honestly kind of scared to, take the leap of faith, right? So
Yeah.
that can be detrimental, right? When someone I call a dream killer, right, kind of stomps on your dreams. But she was very resilient, so all she did was adapted, and she started investing in real estate in her home country. So every summer, when we were off, when I was young, when I was a young kid, we used to fly to Costa Rica, and majority of obviously my mom's side were there, and they would have her opportunities for her to see when she would get there, farms, empty lots, properties as well. So I noticed from early on that, in hindsight, years later, I was like, wow, she never let her dreams die,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
very admirable, right? Because it could happen to anyone. And but she didn't. So she did a lot of moves in her time. So that seed was planted in me early. So I appreciated that because I had that perspective, right? At home, I had a 9 to 5er, a man who grinded every day, never missed a day of work for 30, 40, 50 years. I never missed a day of work, right?
You
So
got to
I
see
had
that's the
that's
both
admirable
worlds.
as well. That's a soldier to the cause. So I had both sides of the perspective, but I leaned more towards my mom at the end. Even though I worked in the healthcare industry for over 20 years, uh, I was a chef also. I went to culinary school during my time. I've DJed. I've done a little bit of everything, but
Got it in. You got it in. World
I,
renowned.
I I try to do it all, right? You have this one life, so I'm very curious, like a cat. So you're always looking around, what else you can do, what else it's just all these experiences that you want to partake in, and some might work out, some might don't, but you say, hey, I did it, right?
Yeah.
So
But and I'm gonna tell you one thing, it's almost like the way you came up. I got a couple things out of it. So you got the best of both worlds. And one thing is people never know who's watching them. And even as a kid, that was a blessing because you watched your mom, you watched your dad, and you're a man. So like you said, you're a hard worker, you're a grinder. So you took after dad. But then as you got older to kind of develop your own mind and your own mindset, you said, okay, I see why mom was doing this. And she didn't know as taking you around that you were just watching her. So you got to see the best of both worlds pretty much because you're like, okay, am I going to work hard and work hard and kill myself and my hands, my body, and all that type of stuff? Or am I going to do what my mom did and use my mind and able to kind of like navigate and go to like the next level? So that was kind of like a good thing because the parents always kind of do it for their kids because they always want us to be a little bit better than them to step on their shoulders and pivot
yeah,
and go to the next level. So that's great.
absolutely. Uh, uh, what's the saying? Their ceiling is our floor, right? So I took heed to that, and I worked, like I said, I worked in I was a 9 to 5er for over 20 years. I know that experience. I know what it entails, right? I work in the healthcare industry, but during that time, I was already dabbling in real estate. So I got my first property down in Florida, a single family home, and that kind of brightened the light that was already there, right? Now it's just brighter, right?
Yeah.
And now you're seeing cash flow. Obviously, that comes with responsibility, being living in New York and having a long distance property, right? This is 20 plus years ago. It wasn't easy accessible to have a camera on your phone and stuff like that. So it was a
Mhm.
lot of touchy feeling, a lot of communicating, leveraging relationships,
That's everything.
right? And again, it was just taking that action, just doing it, right? And figuring it out. It's that simple, right? And that led into other opportunities. Now that seed was planted, I was like, no, I'm gonna get more, I'm gonna do more. So then I did more. I got another single family, I got a multi-family, triplex, a quad actually in New Jersey, closer to me.
Okay.
So so it started a snowball effect. Then I got into some multi-family deals, some bigger deals as well, 30 unit, 40 unit as well, and some equity partnerships. So now I was all in. And once you have properties, the old saying is you sit and wait, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
watch it
yeah.
and
It's the
watch it
long game.
watch the accumulation of the appreciation, right? Your equity goes up, right, incrementally over time. You can start borrowing money. All these advantages of owning properties for a long time, they're at your disposal. So during this time, I was still working, but I knew I was gonna leave, right? So 5 years prior to me leaving, I emotionally had disconnected already from the job, right? But I was still there.
Telling
So
yourself. Mindset. Okay.
yeah, it was all mine. I did a lot of mindset. So I had to be very calculated, right? So it's a rat race here in New York City, right? There's a very, hustle and bustle, very pressurized. Everybody's on the go, everybody's on the move. So I had to decompress from that.
Yeah.
I had to decompress from that, from the rat race. So a way I did it, just small things. When I used to take the train, uh, my train, I said take it all the way to the last stop. And the last stop, you transfer to another train. So in that last stop, everybody's kind of rushing towards the door to run up to the next train or whatever. So I was one of those persons, but I knew I had to stop that, right? To
Yeah.
decompress, to recondition myself. So what I told myself, you're gonna be the last person off the subway car, right? Every day, right? Let everybody go about their business. You're just gonna now change your mindset. You're gonna be the last one out this car. And I started doing that 4 or 5 years prior to me leaving the job. Little things like that that helped me separate myself. I started reading more books, spending more of my lunch breaks by myself.
Yeah. So you was
You know,
programming yourself pretty much.
very much so, disconnecting myself from the mundaneness of a job or lunchtime. You sit with your coworkers. You could probably be just complaining about the job itself.
Yeah.
My vacation time wasn't approved. The supervisor or whatever giving me a hard time. All that I disconnected from all those conversations because I
Yeah.
needed to, right? So I did a lot of reconditioning, right, to prepare me for the day I was gonna leave, right? And I left my job. Let me tell you something. This will encompass kind of the type of person I am. I left my job February 25th of 2020, 10 days prior to COVID, right? That was my last day was a Tuesday, February 25th, 2020.
Over
I
4
resigned. I
years ago.
resigned.
Man.
Yeah, yeah. I resigned that day. I didn't retire. I resigned. And that day was also my late mother's birthday,
Wow.
right? So it
Okay.
was an homage to her, honoring her. And I also got married on that day,
Oh man.
right?
Congrats on that. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so kind of, it's kind of who I am, very thoughtful in that way and creative at the same time. So I created a moment in time, right? By that one day, right?
It had a
Uh,
purpose to it, pretty much. Everything has a
absolutely,
purpose.
very purpose driven, and again, and that was an incredible day that me and my wife will always remember, right? And me personally, because I did so many things just that I wanted to accomplish, right? Leaving a job on your own terms is not easy, and I was telling a couple select people that I was leaving, and they were sort of projecting their fears, like, "What do you mean? What are you doing? Like, what's going on? How, who, how?"
I had them
Because
good benefits. What about your benefits, man?
again, I avoided the dream killers. I didn't share my goals and my aspirations with everyone. That was not something I did, right? Because I have to be very protective of my dreams, right? Because people will stomp on them, and now you have to concern yourself with their fears, right? And
Yeah.
projections.
I kind of and even I know I talked to you yesterday like offline, and I heard you say that about the dream killer thing that had me think about my program and what I'm doing now, because I kind of threw it out there in the air, and coming up I would always be like I wouldn't say what I'm doing until I do it. I noticed with this said program that I'm doing, I would tell like a couple of people as far as raising capital, but I was like, yo, this joint taking a long time. So I'm like, yeah, it might have been like a couple dream killers. I know everything in life takes time, and it's everything is about the time. And so even I know we was on an episode like a little while ago. I called it a different program, but I knew what I was doing because I got programmed into that dream killer. So I said, let me throw this out there so y'all can stomp on that dream, but that ain't really what I'm doing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
The
like you said,
diversionary
some people
tactic.
will pray for you, then some people will pray against you. And it's like you gotta be like real mindful and keen to that pretty much, you know?
You very much well do, especially if you have a goal and you're ready to meet them, right? Because some people are just doers and others are dreamers, right? So I'm out of the dream stage. I live in the real reality that I
Gotcha.
want to get done. My goals, I want to make them a reality, not just stay in the dream stage. That's not my lane, right? So I was very protective of my goals and my aspirations. A lot of people did not know, again, for those particular reasons, right? You didn't want your goals and your dreams to be stomped on it. And now you have that poison in you. Now you have to, now you're second guessing yourself. You might have doubt or whatever it is, right? Because it could always creep in there, right? We all come from the same places, right? Our minds are conditioned a certain way. And again, you let that in, now you have to filter it out. So I
Yeah.
avoided all that energy and I just didn't say anything for the majority of the time. And then I made my exit. I bowed out. And again, now I'm flying, right? My plane took off. Now I'm in the air, right? It literally took off. So now I'm just hovering in the air. That's kind of where I'm at in my space. And now it's just continuing the journey, right? And now and getting with like-minded people.
What
And
it's
that's
all
always
about pretty
been
much.
a constant struggle to find a place where you kind of want to belong to, right? I've been in other masterminds and mentorships, and you try all things out. Again, you're looking for something, you're looking to belong to somewhere, and
All
you're looking
time.
for new information, whatever it is, right? And like I said, I've been to a couple of like a lot of us entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, that we're looking for an advantage, and you join different communities. And you're always gonna learn. I always learn something from every community that I'm in, regardless, because
Yeah, you always gotta take the good with the bad pretty much. You know, you
always.
can't
Either I learned something
all
from me or I learned something that I could empower someone else. Oh, listen, I learned this. Hey, use this. There's a little tidbit, right? So I gather this information not only for myself, but the people around me, right? Just always kind of provide value and a teaching point to someone else, right? So
yeah.
and then I kind of where we at now, and I joined the uh Jamil's community at first. I joined the Astro flipping. Actually, I
Oh,
joined
yeah, Astro. Okay, okay. I thought you were sub too. Okay, all right, that's a
No,
good.
I'm Astro. I joined Astro when I got married that February, that week after, I guess it was early March, maybe the first week of March, I joined Astro. Again, being in that real estate, not really knowing too much about wholesaling, but I was intrigued by it. And I started that journey, and then kind of COVID hit.
Mm.
COVID kind of hit, and it started, and New York, the world was shut down. And my wife is a registered nurse here in New York. So
She was
she
working.
had deal with a lot of harsh realities. She was in the eye of the storm, right? So it was uh it was a scary time. It was a scary time. And like I said, I had my senior dad. At that time, my dad probably was pushing 80 years old. So at that point, I just want to preserve his life, right? So
Yeah.
we didn't know we didn't know what was going on. So I was very protective of keeping him safe because he's had all the bad habits. He's a drinker, a smoker all his life. So I was very mindful of, again, just keeping him alive, to be honest with you. So
Yeah.
luckily we have a nice townhouse here where there's a 3 levels. So my wife would live in the basement now, which I'm in now, that I converted to my little studio. So she would live down here. Here's the bathroom, washing machines, everything here. So she kind of spent 3 months down here, again, trying to keep away from my dad
Oh
because you
yeah, yeah.
never
Because
knew.
COVID, you couldn't be around nobody older and stuff like that. COVID was a
Exactly. Again, we didn't know what we were
yeah.
stepping into. So again, it was survival mode. So during that time, like I said, I started astro flipping, but I couldn't get into it. I couldn't focus. I couldn't focus on that task
Hmm.
because of what was happening in real life. I just couldn't get into it, right? It wasn't there.
Yeah, the mind is the most powerful muscle that's in your body. So if anything attacks your mind, then it can attack every
Absolutely. And
flesh. Watch what you put into your psyche.
Absolutely. So it was very discouraging as well because I was like, damn, I couldn't, I didn't follow up on that. So it was, it still pains me that I've never kind of followed through on that because that's kind of my style. I try to beat all that, I kind of beat the quit out of me, you know what I'm saying? So
Accountable.
I still utilize the network, right? So the network is still who I utilize, and now we're partners in our communities with Jamil and Pace, right? Shout out to them. And life takes us in a circle,
Shout out to the
and
Hoes
like I
Club.
said,
You feel me?
and now we're all back, back together again in another way as partners in our mastermind.
Now, I'm gonna tell you, man. Man, that's a great story right there, and is showing a dedication and a testament of the man who you are. So, like you said, when you was a kid, and you never know who you are as a little boy, how it actually formulates you to the man that you are, pretty much. So that's like, yeah, that's a great thing right there, really, for us. I mean, I love it. And you still at it, you still making it do what it do. And so in your real estate investing, because I know real estate investing can be like real broad. What would you say that your end goal is or your main focus in real estate? And then from there, let me know something that you might have learned that that you might have made a mistake or something that if you could go back or turn back the hands of time that you can kind of fix it or something that you or a key point that you learned in your real estate journey.
Sure, absolutely. My avatar, my strategy is buy and hold, right?
Yeah.
Buy and wait, kind of, right? I just know what it entails, and obviously there's some responsibility, some upkeep, and having multiple properties, and it's got to be, I manage the managers. That's kind of what I do. I
Yeah, that's what CEO does. So yeah, yeah.
that so we
Shout out
kind
to
of
the CEO guy.
that's kind of what we do, and you make it somewhere, you customize it, right? How you want your properties to run, right? And just now trust the process, basically, right? Trust it that it's going to work out. And listen, in real estate, there's always going to be something. There's always a
Yeah,
problem, a
that's
pipe,
life.
a toilet, always, right? So I just resolve one problem and on to the next. I even call out where's the next one at? Where's the next problem at, right? Because
Yeah,
it's right around the
gotta be
corner,
a
right?
problem solver. You feel me?
Yeah, exactly. We're problem solvers, and they're right around the corner, and and this is a weekly occurrence, whatever, depends how much stuff you have, how many properties you have. And then again, it's delegation, right? Having building out teams that can delegate this for you, where you can be free up and do other things. Like me, like I posted today on my IG, Money Making Mando. I posted today, who, not how, right? It's
Hmm.
actually looking for your who's. Now, how do you do this, right? It becomes you make a mountain out of a molehill. Like, oh my God, how I'm gonna do this? Is this possible? And you say to yourself, no, it's the who's going to do this for me, who has the capabilities, the expertise to actually get this done for me. It frees me up to do other tasks, right?
Navigating it to the next level, pretty much. Yeah, delegate.
Absolutely.
That's a great
Because
thing.
it's my style, my ways. I'm a big idea guy. I'm a big thinker
Mhm.
with big visions, right? I'm a super
Visionary.
visionary. Absolutely. I'm very creative in that space, and that's where I'm best at, right? So I know my weaknesses is kind of process and integrations and systems, right? It's a necessary evil. You have to do it, but that stuff bogs me down. So I'm always looking for people on that side of the business that can take over those sides of the business for me, so me to then live out what I want to do, right?
Yeah,
Chase those
yeah.
big goals and big dreams. You know what I'm saying? And you also said, what are things that you've overcome in your challenges, in your real estate challenges? Uh, in real estate, you can run across some bad players,
Okay,
right? If
okay.
you're not very careful. And I ran into I had a situation where I ran into a bad player who I thought I vetted properly, right? And then I did an investment. I did a substantial investment with said person, and it ended up to be a kind of a Ponzi scheme, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it turned ugly. I'm actually in litigation now, so because there's a nice chunk of change. I just, I'm not gonna let it slide, and it's a big deal. And again, you learn these lessons. They're all lessons. They're not losses. I don't see them as losses, right? I see me losing my mom and passing as a loss,
That's a
right? So
loss. Yeah, yeah. Can't
that's
get
a
it back.
real loss, right?
That's
Those
for
are
sure.
losses that so you probably never even get over, like, you know, losing a parent or a child, stuff like that. Those are real losses, right? So I kind of have perspective in that way, right? And these transactions, I take them as lessons,
Money.
right?
You can always
Money,
get it back.
it's
Yeah.
money. If you're about getting money and doing your thing, that's gonna come around, right? And
You're
you
going to
take
take losses and being an entrepreneur. If
all the time.
one entrepreneur that never took no losses,
You ain't
and before you pivot and go to where you're going to go at, sometimes you might take so many losses that you might be at the bottom and you're like, hold up. But God want to put you there so you can see the difference between doing good and doing bad, so you can learn to appreciate it when you do come back up.
absolutely. And it's like I told you, so I'm not visionary, I'm super visual. I had a friend who was going through situations like that, was taking a lot of losses, let's say, right?
Mhm.
So I told them, you take these L's that you think you're taking and you turn them into a W, right? Your W is around the corner. You happen to be right now gathering a lot of L's.
Yep,
You know,
yep, yep.
great, that's cool. You're gathering a lot of L's, but you're taking action. You move, you're failing forward, right?
Yeah.
But those L's are going to turn into a W, right? Just follow the process and have faith that this will happen and destiny will open its doors. And then you
Everything
have
happens
a
for a reason.
testimony, and then you have testimony to then impart your wisdom on other people because you've
That's what
been
the
there,
L is
you walked
about,
that path.
though. That's what the L is about. Now I think about it, L's is about the testimony because typically we're living life. So, we do want to make money. We want to make sure that our family's okay. But you actually living life for the testimony to actually impart into another human being to help them out. So some of your losses or some of your downs, you can actually help another person not go through that really for real. So if we live our lives like that, then the world will be a better place. And I believe that that's why them L's do be happening for real.
Absolutely. You have to embrace them, right? And again, it's like a scar on your knee. You scar your knee when you was a kid. You're older now. Your kids might ask you, somebody might ask you, what happened to your knee, man? I fell when I was a kid. You know, now you have now you can laugh about it. So you know,
Watch that Willie,
at that time you're crying, but now it's a story, right? Again, it's a story to tell, right?
basically.
Right. So that's kind of my perspective when I encounter situations like that. And I'm super mindful, even teaching newer entrepreneurs, like be mindful in who you vet and how you invest, right? And never invest uh into someone's LLC, let's say, or wire money into someone's personal account or
Yeah,
to
got to go through
somebody's
escrow.
LLC,
Yeah.
right? You go straight to escrow. So for me, that's rule number one. Rule number one, whenever I'm talking real estate, doesn't matter how smart you are, how educated you are in the space, right? There's something to always be reinforced that. And again, just be very mindful and follow the rules, right? Just be wise about how you invest and who you invest with, right? Because there's always risk involved, right? And
That's
we're never
crazy.
prepared. And as investors, you're not kind of never prepared for the risk, right? Because you're
Yeah.
always chasing the shiny object. You're looking for everything to be hunky dory and positive, but the real is the real, right? And it makes you or breaks you, right?
Yeah.
And you got to take it in the chin and keep pushing.
And,
That's what I
and,
think.
and look, I'm gonna tell you, it's funny that we talking about this because I actually filmed that earlier about that. But you had to do your due diligence because I mean, we in a real estate investing world. So man, like every day I'll be getting like a lot of deals because we actually fund like double closes. We actually help wholesalers with the EMDs. We do transactional lending, but man, I'll be getting some crazy deals coming at me. Like I need 100 and what's the day? Thursday. So I need 145,000 by tomorrow or by Monday, and I'm gonna give you 3%. And this and a third. For one, hold up. Anything that comes too fast is not worth having it. I'd rather have my meal out of the oven opposed to the microwave. So if
That's
you're
right.
not giving me enough time to do my due diligence, then it's like that's already like one red flag. So a lot of times before we make any mistakes, we had those red flags. But like you said, we get stuck looking at the shiny object and looking at, I'm about to make 20,000, I'm about to make 30,000. And that's what they looking for to throw the wool over your eyes and say, okay, here you go. And then it's like, whoa. So as fast as you can make it, as fast as you can lose it. So due diligence is everything when you're vetting these real estate deals, because right now we do have like a lot of investors out there. So you got to know how to underwrite the file. And then sometimes, people bring a deal to you that that somebody else brought to them. But for me, I would never take a deal to nobody and ask them to invest in something I wouldn't invest in myself. So either the person that's being a connector that's bringing a deal to you, you got to kind of vet them to see if they did their due diligence like a lot of people doing fix and flips. So my number one question was when somebody asked me about a flip today, I was like, well, how many flips did they do? Well, they did a lot of flips, but the partner messed up and ain't want to do this, and the partner messed up, and the people were not investing in the partner no more. Well, the partner was the one doing the flip. So what did this person do? So it's like you got to be like quick to listen and slow to speak, and that's how I do when I do my deals. I'd rather make some slow, steady money than a fast no money.
Yeah, that's for me, especially doing EMDs and some transactional lending, you want to protect your money from going hard, right? You always keep your money soft. And you got someone that like a rush deal, like a 2 or 3 days. I need this money like yesterday. That's for me, it's an automatic no, right?
What happened
It's an
to the what
automatic
happened to
no.
the other 27 days?
Yeah. So
Where they
it's
go
kind
at?
of it's kind of built in an automatic no, because prior to that, you want to take your money out, let's say a day and a half, 2 days out prior, right? So again, you got to protect your money, right? So that again, for me, it's a no, right? Again, we could do business on another occasion. Again, once it makes sense, right? And we following all the parameters that encompasses of bringing a good deal, that we're gonna bake a deal instead of microwave a deal, then we
Yeah.
can have a conversation. But again, them quickies, them overnighters and stuff, yeah, you can pass that.
Yeah, because you're right. And then especially with a man of your caliber, you're a visionary, you're investing in real estate, you went from single family to multifamily. And I know right now we're facing like affordable housing. I don't really say crisis, but like a big issue. So have you ever looked into doing something like co-living? And I think where they say is like a 4-bedroom home and you turn into 6 bedrooms or 8 bedrooms, or what do you think about that strategy?
Uh yeah, it's a need. You know what I'm saying? People out there struggling, they can't find an affordable place to live in a decent neighborhood, right? Jobs are not, salaries are not rising to the levels that rents are, right?
Yeah,
Salary never matches inflation, right? So they're behind the eight ball. So what happens? You get boxed out. Now you can't afford a house. The interest rates go up, you're done, right? You can't qualify for a conventional loan, so you're out of it. So a lot of people also are not getting married, right? That's kind of
yeah,
right. So all these little old norms are kind of going away, right? The picket fence, the white picket fence, and the family, all that's kind of it's you know things have changed, right? Things evolve and grow. So I see an opportunity. Like Wayne Gretzky is a famous hockey player. He said he used to skate to the puck, right? Or
mhm,
skate to where the puck is going to be at, right? So that
yeah,
means he had a great anticipation of what's coming. He couldn't foresee what's coming. And this is a kind of an issue that, especially here in Americans, that they can't find an affordable place to live, right? In a decent neighborhood. So that's why this co-living aspect, it's very interesting and intriguing. It's something I've really been putting a lot of emphasis into, and maybe partnering with people in our communities to create these opportunities. So I've been reaching out to a lot of people who are in this space as well.
mhm.
And again, it's a space that I'm very intrigued on. You get like they say, multi-family returns in a single family home, So
Yeah, yeah,
right. So if you can modify a 3-2 into a 6-3, let's say, or 8-3, there's a lot of income to be generated net for the on the investor side, now that, especially now with interest rates are so hard, right, to pencil in a good deal, that this is a way maybe to still be able to be in the market and still get those gains that you want, and also provide a safe environment so people to live in, right?
yeah. That's everything. Look, let me tell you something funny. I don't even think I never told you that. I know. I've been living out here in LA for like 12 years, but that's what I was doing back in Baltimore like 15 years ago. I was renting out rooms, but my kind of downfall, but kind of messed me up because I had my rental income over in Baltimore that allowed me to move over here, but I kind of like sometimes you can mix business with family and stuff like that, but then sometimes people watching what you do. So when I was living there, I had like I would get the 4-bedroom homes and have like six. I would cut the living room up and all that type of stuff. I had 6 or 7 people living in there, and it was a gold mine for me while I was living there. But once I moved over here to LA, everybody like, boy, you in Hollywood, you getting that Hollywood money, and the next thing you know, it just like my stuff like kind of went like downhill as far as that aspect. So they start being like little headaches for me because I know I was self-managing it, and then I had my cousin doing it. But then I noticed with me, like when I would get one bad apple or one bad seed, it's like cancer, it would spread. So one person didn't pay their room rent, then it's like they say, boy, you ain't got to pay the room rent, da, 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 da. So then you would go from one person not paying it to like 6 or 7 people paying. I said, yo, hold up. This like a little headache. But one thing about it, as it came back around, and one thing that I learned in my real estate journey is you got to have a good property manager or have a good management team, because you only can go as far as your team will allow you to go. So if I could go back in time, I would have got a freaking property manager to do that, and I would probably still have those ones. I had some single families over there, but them room rentals was like everything. And that's
Yeah,
one key takeaway that I got out of it. You know, never mix business with pleasure or this, that, and the third. Because when somebody's so close to you, sometimes they can't see it because they see you as way back in the day when you was running around, falling down, and like you said, getting the scrapes on your knees, and they don't see that you as grew up as a grown man. And it's like, nah, they just start counting your pocket, not knowing that your pocket is part of helping their pocket grow. And we all come up together, but it all
that's
starts with, like you said, that mindset, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And what happens since you had those properties and you were kind of self-managing, you were the authority, right? You were the authority. The tenants probably knew who you were. Oh, this is the big dog, right? This is the guy who comes around and deals with all these problems. He's the authority. We gotta respect the big dog, right? And kind of when the big dog left, they smelled blood, blood in the ocean, right? And they said, "Oh man, this guy's gone." Let's say now, so they got lackadaisical. He's not here. All right, he got someone else doing it, and that guy behind you didn't have that same emphasis to follow up, right? He
Yeah.
wasn't you. He wasn't you, and they know that. They can sense that, right? A tenant who had maybe bad intentions can sense something like, "Oh man, he's come back next week. I'll pay you next week," right? And once that happens, and this guy can't really shut that down, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that sucker is gonna spread, right? It's gonna spread. And again, by you being kind-hearted and open and creating an opportunity for a family member, right? Because that's kind of what you were doing, right? Let's
Basically,
all
yeah,
grow. Let's
yeah. I
all
was looking
build. We
out for that.
building.
Yeah.
You being that big dog in the family. Let's all grow. But again, that perspective, that mindset wasn't there for that person to be as authoritative to this that's yours. They didn't take that and move with it, because if that person said, "Man, I'm gonna hold you down and I'm gonna show you that I can grow with you," right?
Yeah, and it's like, yeah,
It was impossible.
the
Something you can't
sky's the
take
limit.
everybody for the ride.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like I'm the type of person where as though it's like the sky's the limit. So we have these 4 houses doing it, and I see you can hold it down. I go get another 4, then get another 5, and it's like, I mean, there's no limit to it pretty much, because life is all about numbers. So you know how to multiply and stuff like that, and then you're good. But like you said, everything is that freaking mindset. That's why I love this owners club community, because it seemed like as we all different, but we all alike. We actually investing with a purpose, and we all come together. We all scraped our knees, we all made mistakes, and now we're a little bit older and wiser, and we know what to do and who to do it with right now.
It's all in the mindset. It's all there. It's all in that. That's where all the growth comes, right? That's where everything happens. That's why if you go to a lot of conferences stuff, there's a lot of mindset work done, right? Because you want to be on one accord. Our mastermind Jamil had an incredible session and just recalibrating everyone in the room, right? Just setting the tone, right? Setting the table for us, right? That
Mhm.
mindset. So again, that stuff is super vital. You can't move, I think you can't move forward, right? So I do. Jamil holds mindset Sundays every Sunday at 4 o'clock, right? It's 4 o'clock Eastern on my time,
Okay,
and
okay.
I try to make that uh there every Sunday. Again, just you always looking for an edge, always looking for something, right? Just to hone that skill, right, and sharpen that blade, right? Always keep
Keep that
keep it
mind.
toned up and keep
Yeah, you
it
got to.
tuned up, right? So I'm always very mindful of that and very appreciative that I always learn. I always learn, and again, you're gonna always encounter a situation where you might get rocked or whatever, right? And you just gotta hold your fort, right? You shake, you rattle, and you roll, but you don't fall, right? So that stuff for me is super, super important to always be recalibrating and setting that intention and just being mindful of your mentality and where you want to go and what do you envision and what do you manifest, right? All these things come to fruition. And again, then you have a story to tell. You can have a testimony to
The
lead
life
others,
is a big
right?
story.
Some people don't have the faith to believe in themselves. And you could say, listen, I was you, I was there. I am this, I've been there, I've been in your steps, trust, right? Trust the process, right?
It's all about the process. And I'm gonna tell you, it's something that I always say, and you just said it about with the mind, you got to train it. I always say spiritually, mentally, physically, and financially. I know me and you were talking earlier today. We was talking about we go to the gym, we get it in, we get it in. But how you gonna go to the gym, have these muscles right here, and then your mind be all over the place? So I say, you got to be well balanced. So well balanced is everything. So the same way you feed your muscles, you feed your body, you got to feed your mind because your mind is going to be the thing to take you there first before anything. If you in a gym and a weight fall on you or something, you say, ouch, you had to tell your mind, ouch, before it hurts your arm or your shoulder or something like that, pretty much. So, yeah, there is a
It all
powerful
ties
muscle.
together, brother. It all ties together. Like for me, gym for me is a church. It's, it's it's my core. You know what I'm saying? Just to be able to train, I do a lot of weight training, a lot of physical training. And it's helped me tremendously just to fight through things. When you lift in weights, let's say you want to reach a goal, you want to knock out these sets, right? Or this weight, this again, and it's just breaking barriers, right? Even physically. So it's again, it's all you put in all that work in, right? All that work in, like you said, there's many aspects to it, mentally, physically, emotionally, right? All that it's driving you to a direction that you want to go where you can have that shield and go through anything, right? Because the more things you accomplish, the bigger problems you might encounter, right? And you kind of have to have that fortitude to be
Yeah,
able to
endurance.
pivot and know how to problem solve, right? More
Yeah.
money, more problems.
Hey, man, I guess I gotta tell her, look, I'm gonna tell my wife that then the gym is my church because she swore me down. She told me I had another family in the gym because I leave out, especially the winter time, it's dark outside. So I'm going to the gym 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, but it's all about just like being dedicated. And it's like you gotta like challenge yourself, you gotta push yourself. And it's like you said, if there's something that you told yourself you're gonna do, then you have to do it. We getting a little older, and I don't wanna be out here, like you said, chasing, want to be rich and wealthy and making all this money and I'm walking around looking like Santa Claus. So you got to take care of your body because you got to have endurance for when we up running around, helping other people out, coaching people and stuff like that. You got to be able to move around. You don't want to be moving around like a turtle or nothing like that.
Yeah. And the place that we're in, you this kind of natural progressions. You want to be an all around person. You want to be, be at your best, right? Kind of, when you're in this space, this is kind of what we do, right? And it's like I said, it's an old Kim saying, constant elevation cause expansion, right? And it's a lyric that I always remember since I was young, because it's so true, right? You
Yeah,
constantly elevate, and you expand, right? And you
Spain.
grow, right? So it's all about that continuous growing, continuously getting better and grinding it out, right? Well, again, that's kind of the people I like to be surrounded with, and kind of, it's kind of my space.
I think that's why me and you are connecting. That's why we click. But I got a quick question. I know we talking a lot about mindset, and you said you read books. You got any like particular or special book that you'll recommend for somebody to read and say this is what helped you out, this is what took you to the next level? I would say, man, you got to read this book. Which book would you say that is?
Well, just kind of where it depends where you're at, right? So I like to generalize, and a lot of people are in different stages, so I like to start in the beginning, right? So I like to go to the kind of the Bible, the real estate Bible, which is Rich Dad Poor Dad, which is probably written in over 100 languages, right?
Yeah.
So that was kind of the beginning as well for me, because it talks about different aspects, his rich dad, his poor dad, who he gravitated to, who he didn't gravitate to. So there's a lot of lessons there. Again, back to the mindset and back to being in that space, being open to learning new information, right? So especially for newbies, that's
Hmm.
a great place to start. A great place. I'm not a big reader as I used to be when I was younger. Now I just listen to more audibles, right?
They
It's,
everything, man. Them
the way
ebooks. Yeah, they
yeah,
everything.
it's kind of the wave. It's kind of the space. You could, do them at the gym or you're driving. I usually like to listen to books when I'm driving, because in the gym, I like to listen to high BPM music to get me hyped up.
Yeah, yeah, you
It's
gotta get
kind of more of
into
a
it. Yeah.
drive. Like I said, the last audiobook that I had was Who Not How, which
Hmm.
is kind of you're searching for your who's again, right? You don't want to be able to be like, how do I do this? How do I fix this in house? So you actually want to build a team of who's, right? Who can help me in my business? Who can be an integrator, right? Who can
Hmm.
be a marketer, right? So you're always looking for people who can grow in your team and have a specialization or an expertise, and you kind of hands off and you just manage a bird's eye view and make sure everything. Obviously, you're still the big dog, the big fish, but again, you just kind of delegate, right? you delegate responsibilities and let them go, right?
Oh, nah, how? So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna get that on the ebook, and like I said, you had to get that one because it's called the E Myth by Michael Gerber. You're gonna
Okay,
love it. So you're gonna get that on the ebook. I'm gonna get the who, now, how, and we're gonna
do
sit,
that.
we're gonna chop it up. We're gonna, and yeah, and we're gonna take it from there. Hey, have you ever read that book, Traction?
Uh, I believe I have it. I believe I'm sitting here in my basement. I have tons of books. I just collect books to have. I used to be more an avid reader, to be honest with you. I
Okay.
believe I do have traction.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
I do believe it.
I'm
Tom
an ebook.
Wheelwright. I have all
Yeah.
Tom Wheelwright tax loopholes and advantages. All I have Ken McElroy. I have Grant Cardone Pace. I have tons of uh Joe Ferris. I think he's a multifamily space. Again, I have tons of books. I've always kind of collected books to have them. Again, just to be in that space, even sometimes I don't get around to them.
Okay, okay. I mean, yeah, I mean, I know time moves so fast and life is all about time. And I'm glad you said something about the ebooks because like I said, I mean, I'm an ebook guy. Like I said, I don't even hardly listen to music no more. I just listen to them books when I'm in a car. And it's like to
Yeah.
feed my mind. And it's like the who, not how, what you said, it kind of remind me of that E-Myth. Interaction is kind of like that too. When you're building your business, you already have the puzzle, you already have all the pieces that you need in your business. You just start plugging and playing and putting everybody all the pieces to the puzzle pretty much. And that's what it's all about because you said you talk about delegation. That's how it is in delegation. You know who is a person that's a specialty in this area, the specialty in that area, and you plug it, and that's how everybody just win together, you know?
Yeah, and at the end of the day, you want to make it too complicated. It's not, you know what I'm saying? We're not flying to the moon, right? It's just,
Yeah, yeah.
being around the right people who be like, hey, and be instinctual about it. Hey, you want to be around someone who knows more than you in certain topics, let's say, right? Oh, this is
Hmm.
you want to be around people who know exactly what you know. There's not going to be growth there. So you're very similar, which is cool, but are you going to be able guys to grow, let's say, right? You want a counterbalance, someone who knows information that you don't know that you can learn off and feed off of as well, right? So
Wow.
you,
It sounds like you're talking about like, man, that's a big thing because I see you're a people person as well too, and God allowed me to do that too. It's called networking. It's like network with intention. So you
correct.
network with intention. You bring value in the building, and as you bring value to the building, the Lord going to allow value to come to you pretty much. So that's a big thing too. People they talk about networking a lot, but when you network, you got to network with intention. Like you said, you got to be in those right rooms. And that's how everybody can grow and get to the next level. Because like you said, we all know the same thing. And how can we get to the next level? You might be in a room with somebody's like 10 steps ahead of you, maybe 3 steps under you, and everybody's just pushing each other. And that's how you all grow and do it as a team sport. I just always like to try to do everything as a team sport. That way you get the way you need to get even faster and everybody wins, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Especially in our community, there's so many go givers that just a phone call away from finding your treasure, as Pace would say, right?
Yeah,
So
resources.
right, they're in our community, they're all there, right? It's just extending yourself and just building those relationships, right? Just networking and building those relationships out.
Okay, okay. So so a community, so would that be something that you would suggest for our listeners to be a part of? Because sometimes people be like, man, I'm not going to pay 10,000 to be a part of that, or 5 or 8 or whatever. How has community kind of changed your life? Because for me, it's almost like if I'm talking about investing in real estate and investing in this, why would I invest in my mind and invest in the people I'm going to be around? But how does community feel with you? Would you, if you can go back 2 years or 3 years or any years back, would you tell any and everybody that they should be a part of a good community?
Again, you make it what you want it to be, right? It's kind of at the end of the day, it's on you. And usually, people who join mentorships or whatnot, they're chasing a shiny object, right? And they join because they're full of motivation, right? Yeah, this is going to be awesome. I'm full of motivation. I could do this. I could do this. But then they have no dedication, right? They encounter an obstacle, right? And then that motivation fizzles and it's over with and it's gone. Now you have to really bog down, buckle down, and get dedicated and put in that work, right? And that's kind of what's missing when people are, again, it's not an easy fix, right? You have to grind it out and figure some stuff out. So you got to go through those fires. So again, sometimes it's just, again, it's on you. Again, you can join whatever mentorship you want. You can succeed. You can do whatever you want. Again, it's just following through, right? And when you hit an obstacle, you know that obstacle was coming and you have to get through it. Like
Wow.
Pace says as well, the obstacle is the way, right? You have to face your fears, whatever it is, and grow it and grow through it, right? and not give up, right? It's easy. It's
Yeah.
easy to give up, right? It's easy. We've all done it. Again,
Oh, wait,
we've
yeah.
all done it, right? So it's
Hmm.
just now, again, getting sick and tired of being sick and tired, right? You know, let's say you're sick and tired of your existence that you're in now, and you want to make a change, right? It's not going to be easy, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you have to
It'd be
have a
comfortable
reason why
being
you want to do
uncomfortable.
this. So there's also the reasons why you want to do this. Is it your family, your friends, your God, whatever it is, right? To keep you focused, right? So it encompasses a lot, right? When you encounter a problem, again, it's where the problems land and how you're gonna deal with it. When everything is great, everyone's down, right? When
Yep,
it's
yep.
when it get real, then you know,
I love that. I love that. So you said it's good to join the community, but and things get a little rough or whatever, because somebody might be watching this who may need this. So you said if they down, they have to find their why. Then you say they got to come back and be committed because it's not always going to be good times. You got to be a champion to go through the down times and then the good times to come back because you get to learn something from the bad times.
absolutely, absolutely. And then if you're in a mastermind or a community, you have to lean on the community, right? Lean on somebody, right? That maybe going through the same or talk this out, right? Don't internalize it and then just forget about it and now you're on to something else, right? So reach out, build a team for yourself. Again, if you're in a community, you're gonna encounter people who are trying to accomplish the same things you at, right? A lot of people might be at the level that you're at. So those are the people that you want to kind of lean on, right? I have people that call me and they just need a quick a quick tune up. You
Yeah.
know, this was happened this week. It's not going on, and I'm kind of been that guy. You know, people call me and I just give them a couple slaps in the back of the head, right, and kind of realign them, right, and put them back into place. They just need positive reinforcement
Yeah, yeah.
to carry them through that moment,
That's
right?
good encouragement.
Yeah, again, right, reaching out, and again, you just need that positive reinforcement that you got this, you could do it. And again, you get realigned, and you're off to the races again. And it's going to happen all the time. Again, that's what I said, reach out to someone in your community, they realign you or you realign them, and you move forward.
Man, I'm telling you, one thing about you, man, though, you drop a lot of knowledge, you drop a lot of jewels. You killing them, man. You hitting them in the head. And I'm telling you, I watch you on IG, but I think the followers need to know what your IG is. Drop it down, let them know what your IG is because they're gonna actually go through the stories that you be telling on your IG, and you always dropping knowledge. And you know, everybody's always looking for that, and they're gonna actually need some of the great nuggets that you're actually spitting. So how can we find you on IG?
And my lethal weapon's my mind.
IG or any social sites?
Yeah, yeah, like I said, my lethal weapon's my mind. And my IG is money making Mando. That's what I make shake it down. I try to post consistently, right? So you get to know me on my page. And then I have a podcast on YouTube. It's called, as you see in the hat, The Real Estate Deli, kind of play of me being a New Yorker. You know, deli's a big deal out here. So again,
So
being very creative, that's kind of how I move. So just follow me on the real estate deli as we encompass all things real estate and assortment like a deli, an assortment of all type of meats and products. Kind of same thing in real estate. You know, you have all type of people who do all type of things in the real estate industry. So that's kind of why the page is dedicated to bring people who can bring knowledge and their expertise to the community, and we can all thrive and gain knowledge as well to implement in our own careers.
knowledge is
Right.
power, man. So you heard it from the man himself. Like I said, he told you where to follow him at on social, and is a good person to follow because you already see he dropped nuggets, he dropped jewels. I just want to say thank you, man. Though you came here and you just freaking crushed it, and thank you for being the first guest on a Legacy Builder Club 2024. And it's like, man, it's like I started with the
Your hat in
best
there.
first.
Woo! Let's celebrate. You know what I'm saying? Let's celebrate. I love that. You know what I'm saying? I'm super enthusiastic. That's kind of my style. And I always like bringing a real light to people. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of I get that from my mom, right? So I always love her spirit and the way she moves, and I just carry on that legacy, and
That's
just
what's
again bring some light to people's darkness. You know what I'm saying?
she living in you, man. She living in you.
Yeah, yeah, that's how we do. And then we have our Monica, this is kind of inside edition. You gotta be in it to win it. You gotta know what it is.
That's that
We
OC,
kind of we
baby.
kind of we kind of figured that out organically actually last night. We said, man, we actually need some, right? And again, this is how we move together. We kind of feed off each other, our team that we have. and we envision something and we bring it to fruition.
Man, look at you, still dropping. You ain't never. You probably sleep. Look, dropping knowledge, dropping gems, dropping
Don't
control.
stop. It don't stop. Can't, it
I love
don't
it.
stop.
I love it.
You know what I'm
Can't
saying?
stop, won't stop.
It just come out of me, you know. It just, you know, I'm built that way, you know.
That's what's up, man.
I'm
That's
always looking to encourage and give somebody an inspirational word, you know. Just again, that's all we can do.
Yep, yep. So I know he encouraged y'all. He gave y'all a great word. He already showed you where to find him. I just want to say thank you again for being a guest, and man, I appreciate it.
Thank you
I like
more.
that.
Yeah. You know the law.
That's the business.